All right, guys, jump in anytime and ask me questions as I'm working on this. You can see my thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Did you guys go in and take a peek at my sculpture? I posted photos of it. I kind of wanted you to see how I was going to wrap it up so that you could make sure to wrap up your piece real good. Here, I'll show you as I'm unwrapping it how he did it. So, of course, I have the second layer of plastic that's tucked under the board. You guys are probably using trash bags. And then I have 3 layers here. I've got second layer, and then I've got the top layer, which is completely pushed up against the piece. I'll go over here. I spent about another hour after the demo on it because I wanted to get it to a state where I could show you the next step. I wish I could really show you sideways what's going on here, but let me see what I can do here. I don't want to pick it up because it's fragile. But if I maybe show you the side view, so it kind of looks like a jester hat. It's got these fun little, curved areas, which, are the raven beaks. And I put, wherever I'm attaching clay, I put a wet paper towel just to make sure that stayed nice and moist. Okay, so I'm going to inspect my piece, make sure that it fared okay. It's been wrapped up for like a week. I do see a crack right here in the seam, but the clay is super wet. So all you have to do if you get something like that is to score and recompress and then put a Band-Aid coil in it. And that will assure that it will stay there. Not too much water, you don't want to break it down, just enough. I'm going to push the piece closer to you guys. So I have quite a number of slabs to add to this to kind of finish it up, and then the lid is going to be up here, so I have to work on this today in order to add that lid. So Sienna, I will do my best to get to the lid part. I might construct it separately, but I think I'm a little bit behind that. I don't know if it'll be able to hold the weight that it needs to. These might need to dry a little bit more before I add the lid. Okay, so I just put a Band-Aid coil on the inside and the outside of that little breakage. And like I said, it was a moisture breakage, so if you're gonna have a breakage, that's the best kind to have because you can fix it very easily. And then just scrape it, and voila, it is fixed. I know that Sienna, you were having some issues with getting your hands inside the piece to put Band-Aid coils in. What were your solutions to that?
I ended up just doing the slip method that you recommended, and I think it's worked out pretty well. It seems to be holding up.
Can you tell the other people what you did so that if they have that issue?
Yeah. So I basically took some like scraps of clay that were kind of left over from like cutting and stuff, and I mixed it with water and like a little bit of vinegar, and it created this like a slip, like it created slip. And so instead of doing Band-Aid coils inside of it, because I have big hands, I just ended up like super securing it like with slip as on like a regular bevel, and then doing Band-Aid coils on the edge, on the outside.
And the vinegar didn't break it down too bad?
Yeah, no, yeah.
So guys, that's an option. Even if you have like a crack on your piece and your piece is really dry, vinegar breaks clay down. So if your clay is too dry, if you put a little vinegar on it, sometimes it helps re-moisturize it. All right, so I've got my, and I completely changed my design because I had the beaks going in different directions. I had one going down this way and one coming up this way. And I decided I wanted more symmetry. So, like I said, you can change. This is just a starting point, and then we move forward and we do what the clay dictates, right? So I have to make some creative choices that are going to be a little different. Do I still want this crow up on top? And if I do, where is he going to go? Maybe he could be there could be like a really big handle to the lid. I could pull that off. I have all these little pieces for the bees, but I think what I need to do is work on filling this up so that I can build a lid. So I have to kind of figure out with the slabs that I have, how am I going to do that? So I'm going to just sort of like a puzzle here. I'm going to play with them until I find the solution. I think I want it to come up, so maybe the lid comes up. So I might want to attach these two like this. That might be kind of fun if it follows the curve and then the lid sits inside. That would be neat. And then I could put these guys here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I'm going to work on that today. So I'm just filling in this gap. And these slabs are still leather hard. They're not as bendable as they were the other day, but that's actually a good thing because I'm attaching them to the top here and I don't want them to collapse inside. Anyone else having any building issues that they want to get some help on?
Yeah, it seemed like I used like a trash bag to wrap my piece, but it seemed like I did like the same process that I've done in ceramics in the past, where I would like hydrate the piece with the paper towels, and it seems like it overhydrated it and caused like some of it to kind of collapse. Is there like, should I like poke a hole in the trash bag or something, or?
So a couple things. You could just try maybe not to hydrate as much. And then I wouldn't really poke a hole in the trash bag though, because then if you kind of forget about it, you could really be in trouble. So yeah. I would use less water, and then I would just check on it more often.
Okay.
One thing that worked really well for me was I kind of created like a weighted water system. So I put a layer of dry paper towel, damp paper towel, and then wet paper towel. Just so it kind of had those layers, and there was like a protective layer that would keep the hydration like in the bag, but wouldn't like overhydrate.
That's really
and that
smart.
really worked really well for me.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you. Was that Kat?
Yeah, I've been experimenting for like the past like week.
That's awesome. Great suggestion. Anyone else having issues with their slabs? Do you guys like working with slabs? Is this fun or is it frustrating?
It's kind of a mixture. I like it because it feels more like structurally sound. It's just waiting for the slabs to like get to leather hard, where I'm like, this is excruciating.
Well, you know, you can accelerate it by just leaving it uncovered if you're home and just watching it until it gets to where you want it to be, and then you wrap it up. That's usually how I control my slabs. I just babysit them.
I just have a hard time working with wait, I don't know if my mic is working.
I can hear you, Zoe.
Okay. I just have a hard time working with like geometrical shapes. I always end up doing it like organic shapes and stuff. I can't help it. And so now my piece doesn't look like it's made of slabs. So,
that's okay. I think that's just part of your aesthetic, right? And you're discovering that.
yeah.
But did you sort of paddle them into a more organic shape? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so like I had my slabs and I connected them and everything, and then I just started rounding it out, and now it just looks like a normal vessel. It doesn't look like slabs.
Let me see if I can. I'm going to look on yours. I'm trying not to touch the computer too much. Can you show me?
Show you my piece?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second. Oh, wait. This is so difficult.
Oh, wow. Look up, you guys. That is gorgeous.
I don't know how to show it to the camera.
I can see it. Oh my gosh. Look at that
The whole face
face.
is a slab.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it out around here.
I don't see any problem with it's okay that it's not turning out geometric. I think that's
Yeah.
gorgeous. But you made a slab to create the face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the entire face was a slab, and I curved it over a cylinder to
Mhm.
let it dry until they're hard.
Mhm.
And then I put it on top of like the base.
That's beautiful. Are you
Thank
happy
you.
with it so far?
I like it. I just was worried that I wasn't following the instructions very well.
You are. It's just, it's the main objective is that you learn how to attach the joints of the slab really well. So if you're doing that, then you're good.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to share their piece, what they're working on, what they've accomplished? Okay, so just so for demo purposes, I've attached these two pieces together, and now I'm finding a way to attach them to the top of my vessel. So I'm sort of cutting this template out on one side so that I can use it as a template on the other side. And then I might use this shape or this form in some other way in my sculpture. At this point, I'm just kind of like, it's changing and I'm winging it and I'm kind of going with it, right? I'm just sort of using what I have here. The creative process. And these are neat. These kind of look like beaks or bunny ears or something. I could use that. All right, and this fits perfectly, actually. So I want you guys to look up for a second. This is a dilemma that I'm having. I've got this angle here, and then I'm trying to fit this in here. So instead of just thinking, oh, I'm just going to slice off and create a bevel on both sides, you really have to look at how they look like they're going to attach together. And you're trying to create the best surface area, the biggest surface area on both pieces that you're attaching to score. So that's really the goal. And so I think I'm going to have to trim down a little bit to make that fit. What I want to do, I think I want to do a little overlapping here too, just to create a really strong joint. I'm looking at it from the top view here. Slice this down. Now, another dilemma I'm going to have is that I'm about to put this very heavy piece in a void, right? There's no support inside my vessel here. So I can attach it really well, but I'm still kind of nervous about those joints breaking with the weight of this clay. So I can put something on the inside to support it. Problem with that though is I have to be able to take it out after I put this on there. So it can't be something that's too wide. I'm going to have to be able to cut a hole here for my lid and stick my hand in and pull it out. So let me walk around the room for a second, try to find that object. a little tall. Can I bend it this way? I kind of like that too. Okay, so I found a jar glaze, and I'm gonna have to make the opening of the lid big enough to pull that out. So I think that's gonna be okay. And that actually will help me support it as I attach. So just keep in mind too though, if you do that, if you put something in there and your piece starts to dry and shrink, it's gonna crack. Alright, because it's sitting right on top of that lid. So you'd probably want to put maybe some paper towel between your solid object and whatever you're attaching, so it doesn't crack. Pin this. So now I want to give a curve to the slab. I'm going to go in and kind of massage it a little bit. Pinch it. I'm pinching on the middle part, kind of pinching it out. So for those of you that haven't started attaching your slabs yet, you got some work to do this weekend, because I'm sort of expecting this to be completely assembled, even with the lid, by the end of next week, and then we'll spend a little time doing some extra carving and stuff on it, but I don't want you to get too far behind. So okay. All right, so I have the form I'm going for here. I sort of pinched it out into like a boat shape, and I'm gonna attach it. Lots of Band-Aid coils here. And I'm going to create a little bit of a bevel here where it's attaching, so that I have more surface area to attach. Again, I'm using my pumpkin carver. Such a great tool. I didn't even realize I could use it for ceramics. A little bit more water than if you're working with really wet clay. You really want it to kind of soak into your scoring. All right, I'm going to put a little paper towel here on top. Like I said, I do not want that to get in the way and crack my piece. In fact, I'm feeling very not okay with that, so I'm just going to take it out. And I'm going to rely on the Leather Hard clay. Okay, so I've got a nice overlap seam here, and this is the tricky part. Now I need to go in and compress these two together, which means I have to put my hand on the inside and kind of squeeze, pinch. And then this is where you can use your tools to help you, assist you with these things. So I'm going to use my wooden tool to kind of get on the inside to do the counter pressure, and then my finger on the outside. And then I'll probably use a paddle later. Put this guy on the Lazy Susan. Guys, by the end of this distance teaching, I'm going to be a YouTuber with the amount of videos that I've been putting on on YouTube so far. I'm not going to be a proud YouTuber, but I'll be a YouTuber. Just a YouTuber for Natomas Charter School. How about that? Okay, really scraping that seam. Just having a lot of trouble showing you guys what I'm making. I want this camera to be closer without dropping my books here. There we go. That's a little better. So now I'm just pinching these seams together, making sure they're nice and compressed, doing the best I can to kind of get my finger inside the vessel. Taking my time. Part of the reason why I love ceramics is that it's really a slow art form. And then I'm going to use this tool to really scrape that seam shut. Doing my best not to collapse my slab. And I'm going to add a nice big Band-Aid coil to this too. So yeah, the lid, the hole to the lid and the lid and the flange are probably one of the last things you're going to do in terms of building the form. Alright, so I've attached, and then I'm going to scrape. It's all about compression with slabs. And then I'm noticing there's sort of a dip right here, and it's not on the other side, so I can put my tool on the inside, kind of pop it out a little bit, get rid of that dip. I'm looking at my sculpture from all angles. That's sort of the beauty of the Lazy Susan, because you can rotate it around a lot. But if you're just sitting down and looking at it from the side, you might want to stand up and look at it from the top and all the different angles. So those of you that are just kind of watching right now, you can feel free to start working. I don't want to take up the whole class period. I am going to continue to record this demo, and I'm going to continue to demo throughout the rest of class. And then I'll post it. So if you want to go back and watch it, you can. And we're going to do a check-in before the end of class too. I want to see, you guys are going to do the same thing. Post a picture of the work that you did today and your piece. Okay, I'm going to do a little paddling because it feels a little bit not symmetrical up here. It looks like a big goose to me. It definitely has a bird vibe to it.
It reminds me of a genie bottle.
A genie bottle, yeah, definitely. It's these side things. I think I'm gonna make these beak areas look a little bit more like a raven later on. I'm gonna add eyeballs and carve out the beak. They look a little bit too gestury to me right now. One thing I'm noticing, you guys can't see the silhouette, but I want this curve to dip more right here. Right now it's almost straight across, and I don't like that. So I'm going to actually go in with my paddle not too aggressively, right? Because I just attached that slab. I don't want to break it, but just a little bit. This is the beauty of a paddle, is that you can sculpt with it. And like I said, you can use anything, can be a paddle, anything that is harder than your clay is a paddle. Yeah, I like that better. Adds a little bit of gesture to the birds and a little bit more character to the top. I think you can buy really cheap Lazy Susans online, you know, for under 10 bucks, just the plastic ones, if you think that would be helpful to you. All right, now I have these like triangular negative spaces on the sides, so I have to fill those. And I recommend, once your piece really starts to set up and your slabs are starting to set up, just, you know, like get it put together. That is your goal. Because once those slabs are too dry, they are too dry. So this is where I could get a little, maybe a little dimension coming out, so it's not just a closed sphere. I could use all of these bumblebee butt shapes that I created and make a form that comes out, which would be kind of fun. Maybe not straight out, maybe like out at an angle. I also have these two that I just created today, so like I could do something with these. Maybe put them here. Might be kind of cool. I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of going with it. So I've got these 3 pieces. Now I need to create a hollow form that's shaped like a pyramid, and I'm going to put it inside this triangular shape. So lots of beveling with this. Kind of see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take my pumpkin carver and I'm going to cut a bunch of bevels along the edge here. I don't need to on the bottom, just the sides. I have to say, I really, really enjoy this class for many, many, many reasons. But right now, I love getting up off the computer and working with my hands in the clay. So it's such a nice break to stop staring at the screen and just work. All right, so I've got these bevels now. So now I'm going to score and attach them. And before I do that, I think I'm going to rehydrate these a little bit. Just I'm going to actually dip them in the water and let it sit for a second, and then I'm going to give them a little bit of a concave, convex kind of shape. Because right now they're very straight, and I want them to have some form to them. So while those are preparing themselves, I will continue to cut the rest of these up. So I have ceramics, 2 sections of ceramics. So the other class, they always get a different stage in the sculpture than you guys do. They're probably going to see me make the lid tomorrow. But I will record it and show you guys so you can see too. Any more questions? Ceramics 1, if you guys are back, you can ask questions too. So right now I'm bending these bee butt shapes into more of a curve. And all I had to do is dip them in the water and let them sit for no less than a minute. And now they're stretchable and moldable. So I'm going to score my edges. I'm going to create this form independent from the main sculpture first, and then I'll attach it when it's built. A little bit of water, and then I'm going to take these parts and I'm going to compress them together. Really lots of overlapping here. The more surface area in the attached joint, the better. Lots of compression, pinching. And you might say to yourself, well, why not just make that, pinch pot? Like, why am I doing all this beveling and adding and stuff? Well, it's just a different way of working. And some of you, like Zoe kind of discovered that even though she's, she created the slabs, which are good for geometric forms, that she ended up going more organic. So maybe slabs is not her preferred technique. Maybe she likes to do pinch forms and use the coil technique. So that's something you can kind of discover as you're learning to work this way, is that maybe this isn't your chosen way of working because it's not what you want to make. All right, so I joined all the seams together. Now I'm going to spend a little time just compressing by paddling. I can't stress to you how important this paddling is. The slabs. Okay, so remember these are the bee butts in my drawing here. I have these guys. And they were going to be on top as my lid, but now they're starting to kind of be sort of shapes that are coming out of the side of the sculpture. Okay, now I'm going to spend some time putting the Band-Aid coil in those seams on the inside and the outside. Remember, this is a vessel, which means that once we take that lid off, the inside needs to look good too. So we can't have a bunch of broken, cracked seams on the inside. Okay, scoring my Band-Aid coil. And Ceramics 1, if you guys are back, just turn your cameras on for a sec. I want to check in with you. All right, let's get a few students that are willing to share their progress and talk about maybe what they accomplished today or with any questions about how to add a theme to their piece. I'll leave it open for volunteering. Let's get 3. All right, I'm going to call on somebody. So all cameras on, please. Let's have Reina. Reina, are you there, Reina? Okay, let's have Sophia. Sophia. Ariel. Kate. Okay, let's have Natalie, why don't you share your piece? Jolie, why don't you share your piece?
Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, I just want you to share your sculpture and talk about what you made today, what you worked on.
So my sculpture is based off of a movie called Silent Hill, and it's the nurse's head. So what I accomplished today was I made most of my arteries and put them on my sculpture.
Okay.
And yeah, and I smoothed out a lot of things that were trouble in my sculpture.
Awesome. Sounds good. And what is, how can you describe to us like which part of the heart is her face?
Is my face? Oh, so I was gonna make the front of it like the main part, and then have the rest of it kind of like have the texture of the actual face.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. Any other volunteers? Anyone in Ceramics 2 want to share their progress for today? All right. How about Natalie? Can you share?
Like what I did today?
Yeah.
I kind of planned out where my last arteries are going to go, and I added one more.
Okay. So you're in the artery stage still?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. And let's do one more. Any volunteers?
I
Ceramics.
could go, Miss Manager.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I started sort of, I guess, like changing how my vessel looks so it can better fit a lid. And I'm attaching and adding texture to extra slabs.
Okay. Awesome. So next class, we're going to be looking at your WIP pictures and going through and sort of assessing where we need to take things from here. All right, guys. Thank you for participating today. I'm going to end this demo and continue